Thanks, Tim. It's good to be here. My age is good to be anywhere, to be truthful. As my wife says, the bins go out more than we do these days. Health and safety. Well, there we go. Health and safety, somebody described it recently as it's like throwing Scrabble tiles at each other. It's all good until you lose an eye. So what we got? We got our 5-star safety audit, still there, still running. 38 health and safety categories, for those who don't know it. 391 scoring checks, and we've been quite active. It's been good. Factory walk around. We do set a minimum target, and we do have some deductions for LTAs and a couple of other things, but it's going very well. Give you an idea, completed this year, we've done Cardboard Box, very good score, Manor likewise, and Dairy Pack, and Diamond Pack, and West Pack, all good scores, all well up there. And we've got some audits outstanding. These are the ones that took advantage of the get one free and then buy one. So that's the opposite way to bog off, but yeah. And then we've got those outstanding Exeter, Peterlee, Melksham for Westbury, and Newmarket, Glasgow, Caps, and McLaren. So a few going, Avanti and Seagwork. So very good. So that is our ring of defence. Please come and see us. If you haven't had one, it's worth taking advantage of it. The gap analysis is very useful for people. I know a lot of you think, oh, we've got some good things in place, but it will find things that you hadn't thought about. So it's good from that point of view. A little bit I want to talk about. Last time we had the SPA meeting, our colleagues from McLaren in Glasgow, when we had the forum in the morning, mentioned the fact that they just engaged in doing a business stress management risk assessment. And, you know, there were a few in the room who said, oh, no, not another risk assessment. But, yeah, it's something that you have a legal duty to have. So employers have a legal duty to protect workers. If they have more than 5 people in the business, it has to be a written risk assessment. If it's less than 5, well, it's not so important. You can have a verbal one, but you have to have something in place. So it has to be a written one. The 6 main areas of work designed to risk assess are demands, control, support, relationships, role, and change. These are all the things that you need to consider. Now, to give you a little bit of an idea of what that means, if we were looking at demands, so there may be something like struggling to cope with workloads. It could happen in your business. This is not necessarily about the individual, it's about the effect on the individuals because of your business. Long hours, I don't know if any of you come across working long hours, but it's quite common in a lot of businesses. Improper rest not being taken, working with demanding client groups. I think we all do that as well. And inadequate staffing comes up very often. And ways you can actually look at helping with that is to prioritize tasks, look at job design maybe, and working practices, review workloads and staffing, lots of different things that you can do to help with that. So also with that, the physical working environment can be looked at, so things that can affect stress, and it all comes into things that we do look at in the gap analysis, but it is things to think about, like poor temperature control, lack of facilities for rest and breaks. Believe it or not, there are businesses out there that don't have that. Badly placed or poorly designed workstations. We also have the psychological working environment, threat of aggression, violence, verbal abuse, things that need to be managed in the workplace. And there's many ways we can do it. We can make sure workplace hazards are properly controlled, encourage regular lunch breaks, ensure staff have DSE assessments, all these things count to the one on the left. Control, so again, we look at rigid work patterns and breaks. Again, there can be stress to be from that. Fixed deadlines occurring in different parts of the year, which we all suffer with. We get highs and lows, peaks and troughs. Lack of control over work. So what can we do? We can try to provide more scope for varying working conditions, flexible work schedules, and consult with staff. Some of you are already doing this. What you haven't probably done is written it down. And quite a few sites that I've been to recently haven't got that written risk assessment. Support, we talked about that earlier with the print charity, but staff do not feel supported. Lack of encouragement from senior management. All these things you need to look at under your business and say, are we doing this? And what can we do to actually improve it? Relationships, we'll quickly look at those. Difficult relationships with other colleagues, it does happen. Confrontational communication styles. We're seeing less and less of that in the industry. It's a much better working management relationship, but it existed in the past. Role, lack of clarity is about job roles and conflicting job demands. And we can set clear objectives, make sure staff are properly trained. I know it's tough to train staff because we're all busy and short-staffed in a lot of cases, and ensure good two-way communication is in place. And the other thing, the last one on the list, which you need to look at, is change. So again, fears about job security. We talk about automation, where we're going. How are you going to manage that with the people that work with you? There's great opportunities. We need to go down that route with the difficulty with recruiting and getting people and automation for efficiency. But again, how's that going to be managed? And not enough time to implement change. There's obviously that fear of new technology and lack of skills for new tasks. So again, we need to support that, the staff through the process, make sure communications are strong, and maintain regular team meetings. So I just wanted to cover that side of it. For anyone that hasn't done it or thinks or feels they need more information, contact me or contact through the SPA, and we'll give you some guidance on how to structure something. But we've had some good successes with it, so it's been very good. Just that's me almost done, apart from a little bit of case study, which I came across, and I thought it might be worth mentioning. This is something that happened because someone didn't wear a seatbelt, and it also began an investigation that was inconclusive for the police. And what had happened was, in Hereford, where I live, there's a chap with a glass eye, and he hated it. He absolutely hated it, and he'd been to a top surgeon, and they said, well, if you can get, it's an unusual colour, but if you can get a donor, we can do a successful operation. But had no luck with it. And one day he drowned his sorrows, and he was walking home, it was winter, and on an icy part of the road, a car skidded and hit a lamppost, and the driver wasn't wearing a seatbelt, thrown out, and unfortunately it was a fatal outcome. Nobody was about, so he went over and had a look at the driver, and he thought, well, there's nothing we can do here. And out of curiosity, he lifted up his eyelid. And in there was this unusual coloured eye, which matched the one he had, the good one. So he thought, oh, I don't know, there's nobody about. So for you, anybody with a nervous disposition, look away now. He had a penknife in his pocket. So very quickly, he pulled the penknife out and did the deed. And he took his glass eye out and popped it in and pulled the eyelid down and went home and packed it in ice. The following week, successful operation. Very good. Perfect vision, looked the part. And after about 6 months, he started to think about what he'd done, his crime, and he felt guilty. So he decided, I'm going to have to confess. So he went into the local police station, and he said to them, I've come to make a confession. The desk sergeant said, yes, what's that? He said, do you remember about 6 months ago, a car skidded on the ice, hit the lamppost, and the man was thrown through the screen, and that was it. He said, we can hardly forget that investigation. He said, we couldn't work out how this man had driven from Cardiff to Hereford with 2 glass eyes. Okay. So that's it from me. See you at the bar.
I'm going to ask you to hand some certificates. Oh, yeah. That's right. I'm going to ask Alan to stay. Who said health and safety has to be dry and dull? It's always nice to have a bit of a joke at the end. Apologies if anyone does have a glass eye here, no offence meant. I'm going to ask Alan to hand out a few certificates because since we last met, I've got a list of 7 companies who've passed their 5-star health and safety audit, and that is no mean feat. It is very tough. Dairy Pack's been through it, I think, 7 or 8 times now, and it gets increasingly more difficult to keep this guy happy. So I'd like to congratulate McLaren Packaging, TG Nuttall's, Boxway Exeter, the Cardboard Box Company, Manor Packaging, Diamond Pack, Pontypool, and Westpac Sheffield. And I've got 3 certificates for people I think are here. So if there's anyone from Boxway, could you pop up and collect your certificate, please? There we are. Would you like to present it to him? There we go. And if you can look at the camera that way, you'll get a photograph. There we go. Thanks very much. Well done, Boxway. And the next one, someone from Manor Packaging or from Femcore Group to collect this one, please. Thank you. Excellent, well done. And finally, last but not least, Westpac Sheffield. Anyone from Westpac here today? Fantastic, well done. All right.
That's what I put it.
Thank you.
Very good, well done, excellent. And you're now off. There we go,
I'm off,
thank you
yeah.
very much. Excellent.